Friends and subscribers, this is China News for October 2012. So what's in the news in the big red? Well, more rhetoric over the disputed island chain known in China as Diaoyu Islands. Here's a full-page editorial in a China Daily newspaper that lays out a historical blueprint, so to speak, that gives evidence, according to the Chinese government, that the island chain belongs to China. And that's the kind of press and news that we're getting on a daily basis here. This is China Daily, like I said. This here is Global Times. Talks about Japanese exports, which have gone down significantly, especially car sales. Car sales to China dropped 44.5% year on year. Now that's just not Japanese cars, but it's also European and American cars. So when we're talking about trade, fairness, free trade, open trade, it's really tit for tat. China expels Japanese ships. There's 4 ships that were sailing by the Japanese Coast Guard that were expelled by Chinese ships that apparently were too close to the disputed international waters, and the Chinese are chalking that up as being a victory of some sort. And this is the kind of tit for tat that we're seeing on a daily basis here when we're talking about these islands. Interns as young as 14 found at Foxconn plant. Now, Foxconn is one of the largest employers in China, and this doesn't surprise me a bit, where you have interns that are, some of them unpaid, with promises to get an actual job working for Foxconn at one of their many plants throughout China. It's kind of curious when we talk about labor and child labor in China, because it hasn't really been an issue up until this point. For decades, China has been a place that they make their own rules per company when it comes to labor, and labor laws aren't really defined so clearly and aren't enforced. So I've heard stories here personally of young workers, first-time workers, either high school age or just out of college, that are taking jobs in which they're either interns and not paid, or they're working overtime without getting any salary. There's a lot of Saturday work being done and overtime work that isn't being compensated. You know, they're getting maybe 1 day a week off, or even less than that. There are several people that I know that have been offered a job, but then are required to pay a fee to the headhunting agency to get the job, only to find out that the job is not theirs. This is quite common, and it's something that has to be stopped, and Chinese workers have to become more inept at identifying what is a pyramid scheme and what is not. Their level of sophistication here is not what it is, of course, in the Western world. So they're still learning about how to protect yourself from, scoundrels and agencies that don't have their best interests at heart. And that, of course, brings me to tie in with the educational system here, which is really evolving and expanded rapidly, especially at the university level. China's latest university, NYU, which now has a full campus here in China. There are so many universities now that have co-op programs with Chinese universities and high schools and even middle schools now, that will take students either in high school, after high school, or transferring from one college to another to study abroad in the U.S. and other countries. And it's a big business. There's a lot that's involved there. There's a lot of agencies now that specialize in that, and it's what I call the Chinese educational industrial complex, which is growing. And for U.S. universities, it's a win-win, because they can A, get a higher tuition and higher enrollment rate, and B, they can often get, a lot of the Chinese workers work on campus, and they work at, a low salary, and after school they're able to hire in these communities these Chinese workers if they can get a visa, and they'll obviously work less than an American graduate, and it can tie in sometimes with companies' operations overseas in China. So this is a trend that's been going on for a few years, and it's going to continue to go on. New Shanghai College lesson, Join in Action: China-U.S. combined forces in education to cultivate talent. This is really more about the multinational corporations that are trying to harvest talent, from all parts of the world to work at locations either in China, throughout Southeast Asia, Africa, wherever the developing economies are. And so, what they're trying to do is trying to get a talent pool that they can use to, fulfill their expansion opportunities and clearing the path for global currency. They want the yuan to continue to grow, but not at a level that's going to be unsustainable or is going to be too much of a shock to the market. It is estimated that cross-border trade in the yuan will triple to $1.03 trillion in 3 years. That would move the renminbi closer to becoming the world reserve currency. That, coupled with an increase in gold holdings and improved production in copper and rare earth minerals and silver and many other areas that the Chinese are mining both at home and abroad, should tell you all you need to know about the trend of what's going to happen with the Chinese currency. Injection eases hot money fears. Central banks are still injecting money into the economy, although not quite at the rate that the United States is. It's still enough to keep the renminbi strengthening, but not strengthening too much to completely destroy their exports. On a side note, as I was saying several months ago, this article is about operators fighting for bigger slice of the rising bakery market. I had said that if there were 2 small business ideas that I would recommend for expats in China, they would be with baked goods such as Cafe 85 and Bread Talk and these type of bakeries, and outdoor camping equipment and active lifestyle gear. Those are 2 really hot areas in China right now, and this graph here shows exactly what I was saying months ago, that designer bakeries are hot right now, and they're going to continue to grow as the Chinese taste becomes more sophisticated. And on a side note, drones now are being developed to patrol the coastline in China. These drones are based on U.S. drone technology. So when people say that there's a division between U.S. and Chinese interests and policies, and that there's kind of a new Cold War developing, don't be fooled by that type of rhetoric, because in a lot of cases these multinational corporations and the Fed work hand in hand with the Chinese to develop markets and to move bonds, and it's not as they would have you believe it to be. Otherwise, why would there be so much technology that's coming to China and being shared with the Chinese, and a real commitment to developing China's economy and, well, in some cases, their military. Security boosted before the CCP meeting, in which there's going to be a change of the guard in the Communist Party. It's been hush-hush about this, about exactly what's going to take place, but we know that there'll be a change in leadership, and the CPC's 18th National Congress will be marked by widespread change and a clampdown on corruption, which we know is deepened over the past several years. And I can say from experience here that it's been published. You look at the link at the bottom, you'll see what I'm talking about. The clampdown on VPN has really hampered my ability to surf the web and get information and put out videos like I had before. And that's been going on for a few months now, and it will continue through November and the 18th CPC's National Congress. So in the article they admit it, and we shouldn't hear too much about it until after it's happened. They're really clamping down on blogs and other type of social media outlets.